The recognition revolution. Why your thank you matters more than money. What if I told you that the most powerful tool for transforming your workplace isn't hiding in your budget spreadsheet? It's sitting right there in your vocabulary. Those two simple words, thank you. Every day in organizations across the world, an invisible crisis unfolds. People wake up, commute to work, pour their talents and energy into projects, solve problems, support colleagues, and then go home feeling utterly unseen, unappreciated, invisible. This isn't just sad, it's catastrophic for business, and it's completely preventable. I recently had the privilege of interviewing Chaka Nixon, a visionary leader who has transformed how we think about employee recognition. Chaka's work has revolutionized workplace cultures across industries, helping thousands of organizations move from transactional relationships to transformational ones. What Chaka has uncovered through years of rigorous research and real world implementation is nothing short of revolutionary, a fundamental shift in how we understand human motivation in the workplace. The data Chaka has compiled is staggering. 90% of employees report that being recognized motivates them to work harder. Yet, most organizations are still stuck in outdated recognition systems that completely miss the mark. We've been getting it wrong, terribly wrong. For decades, companies have operated under the assumption that employee recognition is simply a transactional exchange. Do good work, get a bonus, show up consistently, receive a plaque after 10 years. But this approach fundamentally misunderstands what drives human behavior and commitment. True recognition isn't just about compensation, it's about connection. It's not just about rewarding performance, it's about honoring humanity. When recognition is genuine, timely, and tailored to individual contributions, it transforms workplace culture from mere compliance to deep engagement. It shifts the entire emotional ecosystem of an organization. Let me share three profound insights from Chaka Nixon's work that completely reframe how we should think about recognition in today's workplace. First, meaningful recognition fuels both motivation and retention in ways that financial incentives alone simply cannot match. The research shows that 79% of employees report higher organizational commitment when they feel genuinely appreciated, not just compensated, appreciated. Think about that. Nearly 8 out of 10 people stay loyal to companies where they feel valued, not where they're paid the most, but where they're valued the most. In a job market where talent can move freely, this insight is revolutionary. Second, personalization makes recognition exponentially more effective. Generic rewards, the standard gift card, the one size fits all company swag, often feel hollow precisely because they fail to acknowledge the individual's unique contributions and aspirations. When recognition is tailored to the person, it communicates something profound. I see you as a whole human being, not just a function. And third, consistency matters profoundly. Employees who receive recognition at least once a month are 45% more engaged than those who don't. This regular acknowledgement fosters collaboration, enthusiasm, and a positive company culture that becomes self reinforcing. Recognition isn't a once a year event, it's an ongoing practice that builds momentum over time. But these aren't just abstract principles, they're transforming real organizations right now. Consider Tech Innovators Inc., a Black owned software firm in Atlanta that Chaka Nixon studied extensively. Before implementing their recognition program, employees reported feeling invisible unless their work happened to catch a manager's attention during quarterly reviews. The emotional disconnect was palpable, creating a culture where people did their jobs but held back their full creativity and commitment. Their solution, they created daily shout out channels where team members could celebrate each other's achievements in real time. No waiting for official reviews, no filtering through management hierarchies, just immediate, authentic peer recognition. The results were remarkable. Within just 6 months, voluntary turnover dropped by 25%. Productivity metrics improved across all teams. But most importantly, employees reported feeling more valued and more motivated to support one another's success. The CEO had noticed low morale after rapid growth diluted personal connections within teams. Inspired by research on emotional connections at work, she championed grassroots recognition efforts tailored for her diverse workforce. By celebrating small wins daily rather than waiting for formal awards seasonally, tech innovators built trust faster, leading directly to two new product launches ahead of schedule. Their story inspired other Black tech founders regionally to adopt similar peer driven programs with measurable retention gains. What started as an internal culture experiment became a movement, but the revolution doesn't stop there. Culture Creators Agency, a boutique marketing firm led by Black women entrepreneurs in New York, discovered that their generic gift cards were failing to excite staff. Many employees felt these gestures were impersonal and disconnected from their true interests and goals. The recognition felt like an afterthought rather than a genuine acknowledgement. So they completely redesigned their approach. Management launched quarterly wish list check ins with each employee so rewards could be customized. From leadership coaching sessions for rising stars to flexible remote work options for working parents, they asked a revolutionary question: what would actually make you feel valued? The impact was immediate and profound. Surveyed satisfaction jumped 30%. Engagement scores soared as people saw tangible investment in their professional journeys. And turnover plummeted during peak hiring seasons when competitors tried recruiting away top talent. After losing two key creatives back to back, partly because competitors offered better support structures, the founders committed publicly that every future reward would align with what mattered most individually within the agency family itself. They recognized that standardization was the enemy of meaningful appreciation. Their creative approach was featured nationally as a best in class DEI practice, and several clients adopted similar models internally after seeing the results firsthand. The ripple effect was remarkable, all from simply asking people what would make them feel truly seen. This personalization principle speaks directly to what Chaka Nixon emphasizes about the power of seeing people as individuals, not just resources. Is particularly resonant for Black women professionals who have historically been overlooked and undervalued in workplace settings. The third example that illuminates this recognition revolution comes from Empowerment Financial Group, a national network supporting Black financial advisors. When the pandemic hit, they faced a serious challenge. Remote work made it harder for employees' extra efforts to get noticed outside immediate circles, and morale suffered amid isolation fatigue. Their solution was brilliantly simple. Leaders created space during every meeting agenda specifically devoted to celebrating above and beyond actions, with stories shared not only internally but also celebrated via social media shoutouts tagged Black Excellence in Finance. Engagement rates rose sharply, with advisors reporting renewed pride in both themselves individually and their broader mission serving communities nationwide. Retention rates improved year over year despite industry wide attrition spikes elsewhere. Several honorees went on record crediting these rituals as key reasons they stayed loyal through challenging times. The initiative came after survey data revealed only 2 in 10 felt connected pre pandemic, but now nearly 8 in 10 do, thanks largely to consistent, visible appreciation practices embedded into company rhythm. They turned what could have been a disconnection crisis into a connection revolution. Empowerment Financial's model has since been cited by industry groups as a blueprint best practice boosting inclusion and performance simultaneously among minority led firms nationally. They prove that recognition isn't just nice to have, it's a strategic advantage in building resilient teams. Now imagine if more organizations embraced this perspective. What would change? Employee engagement would surge, with up to 82% feeling enthusiastic about their jobs when regularly recognized even once per month. Loyalty would increase dramatically. Companies could reduce costly turnover while building stronger cultures rooted in mutual respect rather than obligation alone. Teams would collaborate better across departments. As positivity becomes contagious through ongoing celebration instead of rare applause events, only reserved annually or quarterly. Ultimately, workplaces everywhere, not just those led by underrepresented voices, would become more inclusive spaces where everyone feels seen and motivated daily. This is the heart of what Chaka Nixon's research reveals. A recognition isn't just a nice to have, it's a fundamental human need that, when met, unleashes potential we never knew existed. So, here's my challenge to you today. Will you be the disruptor in your organization? Will you be the one who refuses to accept the status quo of invisibility and underappreciation? Will you champion a revolution of recognition that transforms not just how people perform, but how they feel about their work and themselves? This isn't about implementing another HR program. This is about fundamentally shifting how we value human beings in the workplace. It's about creating environments where people don't just survive, they thrive, where they don't just work, they belong. Tomorrow, identify one person whose contribution would typically go unnoticed and recognize them specifically and sincerely. Watch what happens, not just to them, but to you, to your team, to your entire culture. The most powerful revolutions often begin with the smallest actions. And sometimes those actions are as simple as 2 words: thank you. The question isn't whether we can afford to prioritize meaningful recognition. The question is, how can we possibly afford not to?